And we're live.
Hey.
We did it.
Yay, I'm here.
Hey guys, hey, welcome back.
Yeah, welcome back.
Yeah.
How's everything on your end?
It's going all right, I guess. Reese has been recovering well, so she's doing good. Things have been moved around in the office here a little bit, as you can probably see, so everything's kind of all jumbled. I'm not back to streaming schedule just yet, but yeah, I'm at least here for this.
Well, it's great to have you. Welcome back to the podcasting schedule.
Yeah.
Paul, how's your week been?
Yeah, it's been okay. Nothing too new to report. I guess we started Dark, that Netflix show. That seems like it's going to be pretty heavy. It's apparently it was sold to me as German Stranger Things, and I can kind of see why from the first couple episodes.
That is a real weird way to sell a show, but okay.
Yeah. It's dubbed English, so we turned that off because that was really awkward to get around. There was like the wrong type of emotion in English to like, I don't know, dubs feel weird to me, so it's been better just in German with the actual actors talking and then us just reading the subtitles. But at first, for the first like 10 minutes before we turned that off, it was kind of awkward. That show seems like it's going to be heavy. It starts off on a real bummer, so I'm excited to see where it goes, though. I hear really good things about it.
Right on. I watched the movie I talked about last week that I was excited for, Palm Springs.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if you guys can watch it because it's a Hulu original, so I don't know how. I don't know if it got picked up for a different network up in Canada, because I have friends up there that I want to like tell to watch this show, but I don't know how they get access to it.
This is the Andy Samberg one, right? Yeah.
It's really good. It's very funny, very enjoyable, heartfelt. It was a good time. It was nice watching a good movie again. It's been so long since I watched a good new movie. That was very exciting.
Cool.
I also hear The Old Guard is good, and that's a new Netflix one I want to watch.
Yeah. That was #1 in Canada, I think, last weekend. So people are saying good things about that too. Just haven't watched that one yet.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna watch that this weekend.
Yeah.
In other news, my company got a company-wide email this week saying we're not going back into the office this year.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. So this is the foreseeable future, at least the next 5-6 months.
Yeah.
Get comfortable, I guess. Pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Shit's messed up, man.
Yep. I hear you guys are like almost back to normal though.
We had a bit of a small surge today, but our surge is not comparable.
No, it's not. Our surge is like
comparable.
Our surge is like 15 people. Like it's
no, we had 100
bad.
new cases today, I think it was. And it's like the first time in like a couple weeks we've had 100.
Yeah, we're nothing up here.
Oh, that'd be so nice.
Yeah,
I wish we only had 100.
As long as people keep like actually doing their thing, we should stay that way. Hopefully, so we'll see.
Yeah, not down here. Nope. It just gets worse every day. God, everyone down here is such an idiot.
Shit's fucked, man.
Yep.
Anyway, yeah, so I got another like 5 months of this. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. Bummer.
It said in the chat, America is trying to die. Yeah. That's pretty accurate. And then all the stuff with like the schools getting opened, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, what are you doing?
No. My God. It's just mind-blowing at this point.
Yep, it is absolutely insane. But speaking of insanity, let's do the top-down perspective. I'm Sean Booker.
I'm Paul Fleck.
I'm John Wheeler.
John, we haven't seen you. Have you been playing games?
Yes. So I'll start with the other game because one of the games is something Paul's been playing too. Alwa's Awakening. It is a 2D-ish Metroidvania that was on Steam a couple years ago, and it came to Switch last year. I needed something to play, so I started going down alphabetically, and I made it to A.
Nice.
So
okay.
So I picked this because I've been curious about this for a while, and I've seen a bunch of people stream it. So it is an NES style Metroidvania, for lack of a better term. It definitely has like that NES feel, like you press a button and there's a slight delay on when you like move and when you attack. Everything feels kind of methodical. The map is very simple. Combat's really simple. Like items are very straightforward, but I'm enjoying it so far.
Yeah, I like this one too. It seems like there's more of a focus on a lot of puzzle stuff more than like combat or anything, if I remember. Do you like? It's been a couple years.
It's all about getting around.
Yeah,
it's all about like getting around the map and then like using your spells to figure out things. Like,
yeah,
I can't tell if I'm sequence breaking or not because I'm using the magic stones as a double jump, and I don't think that was intended, or it might be intended. I can't tell.
Yeah, I don't think it is intended, but I'm not sure either. Yeah, I thought this game was kind of cool. Apparently there's a new one. Did you know about this?
Yeah, I did not find out until I looked up how long to beat this game was.
Oh,
apparently last month.
Yeah,
like almost exactly a month ago, a sequel came out, and it is Super Nintendo styled instead of NES styled.
Yeah, I'm interested in that one as well.
So the next one's going to be like really bad polygonal graphics.
I can't tell if I want really bad polygonal or if I want like Mega Man X4 style sprites, like super detailed sprites. I can't tell which I want.
Yeah,
I think the polygons would be way funnier.
Yeah, not enough games are going after like the PS1 N64 era of like hot trash looking visuals and heavy fog.
Very true.
Other than that, I have been playing Bloodstained Curse of the Moon 2. I actually had an early copy of this and couldn't talk about it for a while, but that is definitely a game. It is the sequel to Curse of the Moon 1, which was a bonus milestone on the Bloodstained Kickstarter years ago. Inti Creates put it out. It is basically if Bloodstained, the normal Bloodstained is Symphony of the Night, this is Castlevania, or that was Castlevania 1, and this time around this is Castlevania 3 in terms of difficulty, because it is way harder than the original Curse of the Moon was.
Yeah. That's kind of where my problems with this lay, is that I like to play. So like, first of all, before people say it, I know you're supposed to use the different skills, but I like to just play like the main dudes and like try to dodge stuff and whatever and like get through normally. This game is built around the fact that you have a character that can go invincible in some parts, because like some of the parts are fucking garbage.
Well, sort of. Yes, no, definitely you can tell Hachi carries a lot on his shoulders, but
Hamachi.
What?
Is that anything?
A hamachi?
What'd you say?
A hamachi is a thing. Oh no.
No, Hachimachi, I don't think so. No, Hachi is a corgi that controls a giant mech.
Yeah.
And his only ability is, well, he's got a couple different abilities, but he can turn invincible at the cost of a lot of your magic.
Wait, like that golfing game. What was the robot golfing game?
100-foot robot golf.
Yeah, wasn't that a corgi controlling a mech?
5 corgis, yeah.
Yeah, man. These people rip that guy off.
True. Very true.
Yeah, so Paul, ironically, what you're looking for is in the game. There is actually straight up a one character only mode, and you can pick
but you have to beat the
you
game,
want.
right? First.
Oh, you have to do a lot.
Oh, do you?
So to unlock everything in the game, you have to beat it 6 times.
Oh fuck! I'm not doing that.
Yeah. So there's episode 1. You beat that, and then episode 2 starts. Episode 2 has 2 different endings. If you get the good ending, you go straight to the final chapter. If you get the bad ending, you go to the EX chapter, which then leads to the final chapter. And then when you beat the final chapter, you unlock something specific. You unlock an extra ability for one of your characters. And then if you beat the final chapter a specific way, you will unlock single character mode. So like, you know how on the episode select, there's like 4 grouped together, and then there's the one by itself. The one by itself is single character mode.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense.
So
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. So
I
how
just-
far did you get?
I mean, I finished chapter 1 and that felt like a slog, honestly. I was
Oh, so you finished episode 1 and that was it?
episode 1, yeah. Yeah, like I kind of don't want to play more. Also, Dominique is really good, and every time I lost her, I was just like, well, fuck.
then don't play episode 2.
Yeah. Well, because like
So,
episode 2 is all about getting her, right? Again, or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. So episode 2, you have all your other characters. Like, so you have the other characters that you got in episode 1.
Yeah.
But she's not available. And the bosses are harder now. Like, they've learned new moves. And going through episode 2 makes you realize they designed episode 1 all around you using Dominique.
Yeah, they did.
Because she's the only character that can attack straight up.
And her magic is fucking broken. All of it is good.
Yeah.
And you guys are saying episode 1 and 2.
Yeah.
The way you're describing it, is it the same game but just a little different?
Yes.
That's not how episodes work. What?
So here's how the game works. The first episode is you go through 8 stages and you defeat a boss, and then an event happens, and then episode 2 unlocks, where you now have to play through the same chapters again. Yeah. But now you have your starting your characters that you picked up along the way in episode 1 at the beginning. So there's a bunch of branching paths you can take.
Yeah.
And you can find different collectibles and stuff. Once you've gone through all 8 stages again, you get a different final boss. And then depending on if you found the thing you need or not, you'll either go into EX mode where you again play through the same 8 stages, but with a different party. And thus there's different areas you can get to in different parts of the stages. Or you go into the final episode, which I think is the more interesting of the 4, where you can just choose whatever order you do the stages in and build your party up however you want.
It's like playing the same game 4 times.
Yes, this is the one downside to the game that I have fatigue. Yeah, so I got fatigued on this, I will admit.
Sure.
The stages are really well designed, but like episode 2 onwards, the bosses don't change. So if you learn how to fight a boss a specific way, like you'll always be able to do that afterwards.
Those bosses are great. I like them.
The bosses are great. They're except for the chapter 7 boss.
Yep.
That boss.
Yeah, you knew. That boss doesn't telegraph anything. Well, I mean, it does. Oh, go on.
So that's the boss. That's the boss from Curse of the Moon 1.
Yeah.
And yes, it actually telegraphs every single one of its moves. You just need to learn how to read them, which sucks because it entirely depends on where her arms are. Like this is like safe zone. This is like no safe zone. This is safe zone over here, and vice versa. It's really stupid.
And
just like on a bicycle.
It literally is just like a football ref.
Like on a bicycle.
They should call this like playthrough like A, playthrough B. What did they call them in Nier, Paul?
Ending.
Endings. Basically.
But when you like started it up again, was it just like new game, or like how did you know you were about to get playthrough B?
Game A, game B, I think.
Is that what it was? I can't remember.
I can't remember either. Yeah.
I'm just stuck on this episode thing. Episode implies it is different.
Well, I mean, because the story it's a continuation of the story, right? So I get where you're coming from, for sure.
In terms of length, compared to the first one, is one episode as long as the whole first game, or are all 4 episodes together as long as the first game?
So from what it's been a while since I played Curse of the Moon 1, like at least 2 years.
Yeah,
that game's only like 4 or 5 hours long. It's not super long.
Something like that. It had 12 or 13 stages, but once you beat the game the first time around, you unlocked a new chapter or like a new episode, and you had to play through all of those again to get a different final boss and a different ending.
Right. Yeah.
But that was it. You could unlock a third mode, which I think was literally the solo mode that Paul's looking for, essentially.
Yeah. The Zengetsu only one, basically.
Yeah, Zengetsu only mode, yeah. That's exactly how you get it again this time around.
Makes sense.
But they actually reward you for doing it this time instead, because the final boss is different, and like you get a new power up and stuff like that, basically. But this is more game but less stages technically.
Stage 8 can go fuck itself. I hate that stage.
Stage 8 isn't that bad.
The thing that's just chasing you that you hit, I hate juggling that thing.
Right. Okay, never mind. Now I remember what I said. You know you can hit that, right?
Yeah, I hate it though. I hate juggling it while going through it.
I completely forgot about that because it never shows up after episode 1 again.
Good.
It shows up one more time, and it's very specific where it is, and it's nowhere near as much of a hassle.
Like, I guess that makes sense. Because you kill that dude.
That's
so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no. So about the same amount of bosses as the first game, but less stages. But the stages are bigger and more branching paths in them.
Yeah.
And they designed the extra episodes through about you going around these different paths, at least when you can.
Yeah, there's a lot.
This game costs more too. Didn't one launch at $10?
Probably. I think one launched at 10 and this one's 15. I mean, that's not that big a difference. But it definitely is a longer game for better and for worse.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it, but playing through it 6 times was just like, no. And then when you unlock the final mode and it's like, okay, now you can beat the game with just one character if you want. And here's like all 7 characters you have available. I'm like, nope, stop in here.
Also, just on a personal note, I don't think the music is as good as the first one either. It's not as memorable.
Yeah, I might agree with you on that. It didn't feel as
it has a few tracks that were standout, but not as many. Definitely, it felt way more laid
that's
back.
Another problem with the fact that you have to do 8 stages over and over is you're only getting the same 8 tracks again.
Yeah, true.
All right, so looking it up on how long to beat, main story for the first Curse of the Moon was 2 hours versus 3 for the sequel. Main and extra 4 versus 7 for the sequel, and completion is 9.5 versus 17 for the sequel.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so it is close to double in length, basically.
Yeah, that's beefy.
And it's also, like I said, it's way harder because the first game felt more or less like if you knew your Castlevania games, it was a cakewalk.
Yeah.
And this one, you got to earn your way through it. Holy shit.
It's difficult. Yep.
Some of those stages are rough, and if you're missing a certain character either through plot reasons or damage, like you have to relearn those bosses, and you got to relearn them hard.
Yep. Those bosses are still good though. I really like those boss fights. For the most part, I think the fire snake is probably the weakest of the good ones, but it's still fun.
I would say the train's the easiest one. I can get through the train boss without ever getting hit.
The train is so that's barely a boss.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. The fire one's a bit annoying because there's a couple spots I still haven't figured out how to avoid damage, but
yeah,
snake was not that bad. I will, even learning the patterns, I still hate boss 7.
I'm trying to remember.
Boss 7 is the
the
one with the bugs. Yeah.
Yep, the bug lady.
The bug lady.
Yep, I hate her. Also, the run up to her with the bridge part is really bad because getting hit off. Basically, if I didn't have invincibility, I would just restart at that checkpoint, and then like if Hachi died, I was screwed.
Hachi, yeah, you have to swap through your characters so much just to extend your health. It's ridiculous.
There's some cool things you can do to get to like places where you use Dominique's big jump, then you switch to Robert to do a wall jump, and then you switch to Hachi to do a hover. And like there's some cool ways you can break the game by being decent, and that's cool.
I don't even think that's breaking the game. I think that's actually what they intended you to do.
Some of it is definitely for sure, yeah.
Because there's some jumps where I'm like, how would you do this? And then it's like, oh no, that works.
Yeah. Yep.
No, I like it, but definitely burnt out on it after having beaten it 6 times to get all the unlocks. And I think tomorrow they're putting in boss rush mode, so like they're going to be actively adding DLC to this.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, if you like classic Castlevania, I do recommend it, but prepare to get mad.
Yeah,
and that's all I've been playing.
All right, I'll take it from there.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, so Bloodstained 2, or Bloodstained Curse of the Moon 2. It's good. I played Neon Abyss a whole lot yesterday. This game is great.
I've been hearing it is actually good. I've been hearing a lot about it.
This is if Enter the Gungeon, Binding of Isaac are S tier. This is A, and the only reason it's not S is because those have been updated for years and have so much content, and this is like new, so they don't have the track record yet. But this game is like one of the best roguelikes I've played in a long time, easily. So
Okay.
it is a
Wait, hang on. In your tier list, where do you put Dead Cells on that?
Dead Cells is S.
Okay. I'm just making sure that it was in the right category.
Dead Cells has also been updated for years now, like
Yeah,
constantly.
That's true. Where do you put? Okay, where do you put? Now I'm just curious. Well, I'm going to rank all my games. Where do you put Hades in that?
Hades is currently A, but it's
Whoa. What is Hades missing? Because it's been updated for a long time.
I'm just mad because it reset all my progress.
Yeah, I like whatever. I almost think you should like reset because they've put like so much into that game. You would you'd probably miss some stuff.
I mean, I definitely did because they reset all my shit. They reset everything.
Did you play Moonlighter?
Yeah, that's probably a B for me. It's okay. It got a little too samey.
You get to also run an item shop.
True. I think that's the weakest part of Moonlighter, though, gameplay wise.
That part's great. You get to tackle people trying to steal your stuff.
You're not wrong. So Neon Abyss is a side-scrolling action platforming where you have a melee weapon and a gun. But for the most part, you're going to be using your gun because that's kind of where all the synergies and stuff lie, and you have different guns you can get or whatever. It is a roguelike, so it does the whole thing of you go into the dungeon, you're fighting through a level, then you have a boss at the end, and throughout that level you have different items like bombs and keys to open up different doors and pathways to get money and other items to increase your power level and make the game easier or whatever for you. It's pretty standard. I think the thing I like about it, though, is that it's simpler than something like Scourgebringer, which kind of does a whole bunch of stuff to be really stylish, fast, and cool. This is just basically like the simplicity of like a Binding of Isaac, where you can read what the items will do and you know how they're going to interact with each other, and you can build a run basically going sight unseen, and just like everything about it reads good. The enemies telegraph properly. I never felt really like there were many times where I took damage and the game like screwed me over. Like every time it was like, okay, this guy is very clearly going to like jump at me in a certain way, and I know that I can either dodge it or try to kill him quickly or whatever.
So there is a dodge roll. I feel like that's critical.
There's a dodge roll for one specific character. There's different characters and each one has different things associated with them. Your first character is named Wade, and he's just a standard, like, normal white grunt dude who has a gun, 3 hearts, and I think starts with a grenade. The other character you can play as after your first run is named Anna. She has a little more health. She has 4 hearts that she starts with and a key, so she can open a locked door right away. I just unlocked a new character named Matt. He has 3 hearts to start, and he has a dodge roll specifically. And then you have like a robot character that doesn't get hearts, but he only gets armor, like shields. And yeah, there's different characters that you unlock as you go. And it has the Rogue Legacy sort of thing, as you're getting a currency that you kind of build up your runs with. So you unlock you have like a skill tree at the end that you can like buy new upgrades for. So like the first upgrade you always get is trying to remember what it is. I think it's just every floor will now have a secret room of the dungeon, and then like another one is rocks that have items in them will be marked with paint, so you know which ones specifically to bomb for items now, and then like different items or whatever that you can get in your runs from there on. So yeah, no, it doesn't do anything brand new or crazy. It just does the simplicity of a good roguelike like Binding of Isaac in a action platformer type of game.
Yeah,
just
the platforming
really smoothly.
makes me wonder, like, it's more plays like Dead Cells then, as opposed to like a dual joystick shooter.
It does, yeah. It plays definitely more like Dead Cells, with the focus on gun combat more than anything. But yeah, there's like definitely more platforming thing. There's parts where there's spikes on the ground, and when you run over after a second, spikes will come up. There's bouncy pads to get up higher. Yeah. I don't know. It's just really good. I like wanted to just see if it was any good because people have been talking it up a little bit last night, and I ended up playing 5 hours like it was nothing. Like I just lost
Oh wow.
my night. Yeah,
Play, because you mentioned this just after we signed off last week. Did you play any of West of Dead?
I did. I didn't like it, like at all.
No.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, the art
I need to
style's
get back to
cool.
that.
It just feels kind of like muddy or something moving. I didn't like the movement in it at all.
The movement is weird for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely recommend Neon Abyss to like. Basically, if you like Binding of Isaac, you need to check this out, especially since it's on Game Pass. Like, if you have Game Pass, just install it and try it
And
out.
at this point, you're losing money not having Game Pass.
Well, I mean, that may or may not be true. Depending if you're buying all these games separately, you're definitely losing money without Game Pass, but
Right.
yeah, it's very good. That's all I've been playing, though.
All right, I played some stuff. Let's start with Deadly Premonition 2.
Yeah, I heard this is the
Alright.
worst frame rate of any game in the last 10 years.
This game runs like dog shit.
Yeah, I've heard this.
Holy smokes, this game. It almost doesn't want you to play it. The frame rate is so bad. The loading is not terribly long. It's like, I don't know, I want to say on average like 20-second load screens, but they're so frequent and consistent, it feels like they're way longer than they should be. Anytime you open like a door to go somewhere, there's going to be a 20-second load. So like, so it's an open world game. So you think like, okay, I get a mission. I'm gonna go over to the fast travel spot. I'm gonna open the map, select where I want to go, arrive at the fast travel spot, go into the house that I'm trying to get to. Every step, there's a 20-second load in between of those.
Awesome.
So that gets insane.
Now, are you playing in handheld mode or are you playing in TV mode?
I'm doing both.
Oh.
And both
It
have the
runs
same
like
issue?
dog shit in both. I actually don't think it gets better in either way. Like whatever performance boost the dock usually gives you, it's not doing it. It's not doing enough if it is doing something. What's odd though is like the Switch's fan, I think most of the time I've been doing I'm pretty split. Even when I'm doing handheld mode, the fan's not going loud. So like the game isn't even like trying to tax the machine. I don't know what's going on. I would assume if this game is chugging so bad that the fan would at least spin up and be like, you know, get your back in it, Switch. What are you doing, man? But I don't know. I can't really speak to the nitty-gritty like that. Anyway, from I'm trying, it's really hard to kind of to look at this game as in like, is it good? Is it bad? Like, you know, I've been talking about this for weeks. It's hard to come down on a Deadly Premonition game.
Yeah.
I guess if like, there's a lot of design things in there that are like, this just kind of sucks that this is here. And what I'm trying to do so much is think back to Deadly Premonition 1, because I'm assuming a lot of the same things were in that one, but that was 10 years ago, so I can't quite remember if it's just like, well, they did it in the first one, so they're doing it again. So it's hard to say, like, is this just kooky Deadly Premonition, or is it just like this just kind of is bad game design? And I'll give you an example.
Okay.
I'm stuck on this one mission right now. And I'm in this weird scenario where I need to go get some kind of food. Actually, let me take one step back. I need to get 3 things of food for an NPC. That's my quest. I have 3 quests. Get one, and each one is collect a thing of food. First one's pretty easy. You go to this guy's food truck, you buy the thing, done. Second one is I need to find canned spinach that is only found in a vending machine. The game does not tell you which vending machine. You have an entire city of vending machines.
Mm-hmm.
There is absolutely no hints. There's no icons on the map. There's nothing. You just need to go around and hope you come across the one vending machine that looks exactly the same as all the other ones, but this one has the food you need in it.
There is definitely a
Interesting.
mission where you have to buy cheddar from the inn lady in the first game that they never, for somebody, and they don't tell you where you buy it. So I think this is a Deadly Premonition thing.
I think so as well. So let me continue because this mission gets worse. So I just looked up where to find it because I'm not going around looking at the thing.
Yeah.
Playing this game is kind of hard with this frame rate, to the point of like, so you get a skateboard, which is awesome. York on a skateboard is fantastic. I love it, and he's so into his skateboard. He refers to his skateboard as his darling. Every time he's talking to someone about his skateboard, he's like, can you help me fix my darling? It's goofy and weird. So like from a story side, you are getting Goofy York. He's talking about movies all the time, and that's fantastic. You're getting some weird ass NPCs, and that's what I come to a Deadly Premonition for. So like, if you're from like a storytelling point, you're getting the Deadly Premonition you want. But again, everything on the outside is you have to muscle through some weird thing. The game runs terribly when you're on the skateboard. So the frame rate is bad. Things will pop in and out of existence as you're skateboarding around, which makes it hard to like look around the environment if you're trying to find something. For example, a vending machine.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that third item I'm looking for is I have to go to this lady on a specific day and she will make me this food. I can only go to her she only makes it on Mondays, she says. Okay, so it's Wednesday in my game.
Sure.
So I'm like, okay, so this, and I've been wrestling with this for like an hour at this point. I have to go back to my inn, or I need to, in some way, I need to sleep 5 days.
Sure.
That's the only way to get to Monday is I have to sleep for 5 days. You can only sleep in 24-hour increments at max.
Sure.
So so you can either smoke, which speeds up time, or you can go to the inn and sleep in your bed, and then that you can just like jump a full day. You don't need to like wait for time to go fast. So I go to the inn, I sleep for 24 hours, that's fine. I do it again, sleep for 24 hours, that's fine. At that point, my BO is really high.
Sure.
Okay, so now I need to figure this out. This is the first time I had gotten my BO this high, so I go to the shower. I go to use the shower. Shower's broken. This is actually a separate mission. I need to fix the shower. Okay, well, do I need to do this done? When your BO is high, every time you talk to someone, it costs you $50.
What? That's amazing.
That's a Deadly Premonition thing. I should also say every time you sleep like a full day, because you're in a hotel, it costs you $150.
Right.
So I can only jump forward so many days before I'm going to be out of money.
Right.
So at this point, it's like, okay, I need to get this BO thing fixed because I still have a few days I need to sleep, and I can't lose $50 every time I talk to someone.
Yeah.
So I find out, to do this mission, you need to talk to the concierge. The concierge is only there starting at 3:00.
Right.
And I've unfortunately missed that time, so I need to sleep another day and get to 3:00. So I do that. He's finally there at the thing. I can talk to him. Actually, that's not true. You can call him with the bell at any time, but you can only talk to him if he's standing behind the desk at the right time. So you talk to the guy, and he's like, "Oh yeah, we're not gonna fix it. We're gonna get someone here a week from now to fix it." And York's like, "Can you put me in a different room?" "No, all the rooms are connected to the same water valve." He's like, "Is there any other hotels?" "No, we're the only good one." So York has to end up fixing it himself by going up to a valve and turning it. Okay, he does it. He turns it. It warps you to the shower. Shower's still broken. What do you have to do? You got to talk to the concierge again. Okay, I go do that. Concierge's like, "I don't know. Maybe you should talk to the bellboy." The bellboy is also only there at certain times of the day. Not the same as the concierge. So I got to sleep again and get to the right time of day. Get to the bellboy. He makes you do another valve. Same thing happens again. And now this is the part where I'm at, because I keep like screwing up the times and being like, I got to just restart. I'm losing so much money. Like there's a more efficient way for me as I'm learning more of these. I have to do this again with another dude who's at a different time, just so I can get this one meal from somebody on Monday and actually get a shower before then.
Have you ever noticed that I think people talking about Deadly Premonition is actually better than playing Deadly Premonition?
Oh yeah, no, Deadly Premonition is a spectacle game.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a weird game. Like it's weird. I'm loving the story stuff. York is as good as ever. But like it is actively hard to get through, and that's a bummer. Yeah, it's also weird because this is like, I know it's a budget title. It's $50 instead of your typical 60. The first game launched at $20.
Yeah.
I think this one is worse. Just, I think the first one is just a stronger game. It also had the advantage of being the first one, so it was a little unexpected.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. This game would be fantastic to watch for sure. Like,
so again, you think this one's just not necessary because of like, if the technical issues were gone, do you think it would be a better game?
Oh, for sure. Like, yeah. I would probably some of the mission design is terrible. Like, I just went through a big long thing about how the mission design can be absolutely terrible.
Sure.
Yeah.
But at least if I could like get around without everything freezing the whole time. There's a weird thing where when I come out of sleep mode, the game is hitched for a while. Like, the game does not like sleep mode.
Yeah. This is actually one of the, hearing all of this stuff, like I've been kind of following people's opinions on how this game runs. It's made me actively not want to play it because, yeah, it sounds really rough.
It's hard to recommend. Like, I think I can only recommend it to people that are like diehard Deadly Premonition fans.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see it my way through it. I'm not super far into it. It is split up into episodes. These are actual episodes though, not your weird Bloodstained Curse of the Moon bullshit episode things.
Wow.
So I'm on episode 2. Like, I'm only a few hours into it. If you go by my in-game clock though, I'm 117 hours into it because it doesn't know how to handle sleep mode.
That's great.
So I've actually finished this game 6 times over. We'll see. Like, I don't know. You learn skateboard tricks, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
Here's another weird thing. I was talking about this recently with Last of Us Part 2. It does the thing that God of War did that was really great when there's like like banter while you're going somewhere. Well, they'll be telling a story, and if you cut them off, eventually when you like get back to like the commuting, they'll be like, "Hey, what were you talking about again?" "Oh yeah," and they'll continue from where they are.
Yeah.
This doesn't do that. And it so aggressively doesn't do that it's annoying to the part where he'll just repeat stuff he's already said. Like, I've heard him talk about how Zach likes milk in his coffee like 8 times in a row. And I shouldn't say 8 times in a row. I should say 8 times. However, I have had it a couple times in a row, which is insane to me. Like, I understand if you didn't record that much stuff, but they're showing up repeatedly, like back to back, which is insane.
Yeah.
I've also noticed that if I like get off my skateboard while he's having like an interesting conversation with himself about a movie, he'll just stop talking and I don't get to hear the rest of that.
Oh.
So, and it'll maybe at some point when I'm skateboarding around again, he'll start that conversation over from the very beginning. So maybe I'll get to hear it then. So it's led to me doing a lot of stuff like, this is the stuff I love. Yeah, let's do it. I'll get to my destination and I'll just like roll around in circles because I want to hear what's going on. And I don't want to like miss it. You have an NPC that sometimes is with you. If you jump on your skateboard while they're talking, you just never get to hear what that end of that conversation was. Just weird stuff like that. It is a prickly game. It could use a lot of fine tuning. I'm curious how much they actually are going to fix.
How much they can.
How much they can. Yeah. I will say though, here's a weird thing. This is neither here nor there. The premise of this game is actually Zach is getting interviewed by 2 FBI agents about a mission that happened in 2005, and you're playing that mission as York. So like, that's actually kind of interesting. I want to know what's going on with that. Anyway, the Zach is in a apartment in Boston. His apartment looks identical to the apartment from D4.
Oh wow!
Like, it is the same apartment. And I'm curious to do they just like reuse these assets because like no one played D4? I don't know, but I just thought that was kind of a fun little thing. Like, is it the same world? Is that guy there? Who knows? I don't know, man. Yeah, that's a fun little thing. People should play D4. That's a weird game.
Yeah, but they'll never get the ending to D4, which is the real bummer.
Yeah, they won't. Yeah, they won't. Which is a bummer. It's super bummer. All right, I've been playing some less exciting stuff like Fallout 76 because that is now on Game Pass.
Yeah, I've been playing that too.
Why, but I guess that makes way more sense.
That game's fine. It's just so underwhelming.
I don't like this game.
Yeah, it's fine. It's
I think it's just because I'm not a huge Fallout guy.
Yeah, then why
so
are
it's
you
kind of the
playing
same
this?
thing. Because it's Game Pass. It's got co-op. I'm always up for some co-op
Oh,
times.
the co-op. Yeah.
So that's good. It's just, again, though, all the things that kind of make it a Fallout game just rub me the wrong way. Like, I hate using their menu, like the Pip-Boy.
Oh, yeah.
It's just always annoying.
Also, the fact that it doesn't have like a really good written story. It has story stuff in it, but
it does have story stuff. I'm going through that. It just seems
it's just not as
meaningless.
good. Yeah.
I think the game looks bad. I hate the way it looks. I think it is not a pretty game in any capacity.
That engine has been bad for a long time. Yeah.
Yeah. And just things like how kind of the routine, the loop of the game is like go into a house and like open up every single drawer, and I don't really enjoy doing that. And all the stuff I am picking up, it's like I don't even know if I need any of it. Like, why am I picking up empty bottles?
Because you break it down into stuff to make your weapons better.
Yeah, I don't like doing any of that. That's the thing.
Okay. Then yeah, this isn't for you.
That's
literally the gameplay loop, is picking up shit and making your weapons better.
Yeah, I don't like doing that.
Yeah.
It's so complicated. The whole camp system, I just find it overly complicated. Anyway, it's on Game Pass, so if you want to try it out, you can definitely do that.
That's the right price. For it free on something that you're paying for other games on.
The last game I've been playing this week is called Night Call.
Yes.
This, you play a taxi driver in Paris who was on like the first night you were attacked and put into a coma. When you eventually recovered, the police kind of force you to work as an undercover agent for them to kind of gather intel on other, people taking cabs around to try and figure out who the person that stabbed you was, because he's like a serial killer, and they're wanting to catch the serial killer. Plays exactly the same as NeoCab, a game I talked about last year that launched on Apple Arcade. You get a map screen of the area, you pick someone's face that you want to take them on their next ride. You have to balance like how much gas do I have, how much money do I have, the fares and stuff like that. And then it's basically just a visual novel. You just kind of talk to them, you make decisions. You try to get intel out of them while this mystery is going. What's kind of interesting with this one is when you start a new game, there seems to be like different stories you can play. There's like 3 of them, I think. Which that's kind of interesting. I'm looking forward to like finishing this one and then seeing is it a completely different story? Like, what's the deal with this? Did they make like kind of like 3, quote unquote episodes? Actual episodes, maybe not actual episodes, maybe it's just the same thing again with a new boss. So yeah, I'm enjoying it. It sounds good, it looks good, it's pretty chill time, and if you liked NeoCab or if you played Night Call and you're looking for something like Night Call, you should play NeoCab because they're so similar, the two games. But that's also on Game Pass.
Cool.
Yeah. And that's all I've been playing, so let's go through some news.
All right. So, last time we did this podcast, a few things have happened in between. Specifically, 2 of these like faux E3 things went down. The first of which was Devolver Direct 2020. That was on the, I think, Friday, like the day after, maybe the Saturday. It was a Saturday? Okay.
It was Saturday, yep.
They showed some stuff. They showed a little bit of Shadow Warrior 3, which is coming out next year. Looks like more Shadow Warrior, so that's good.
Carrion, that seemed like the one of the bigger names. They showed
Carrion is out in a week from our recording this. Yeah.
And it's Game Pass title.
Game Pass title, yep.
And that's basically The Thing, the game.
Yes. They showed a little bit of Fall Guys, or they gave a date for it, which is August 4th specifically.
Right.
I'm excited for that.
Me too. Yeah. It still looks cute. There's nothing new there. So yeah, August 4th, PC and PS4. They showed Serious Sam 4 for whatever reason. That's still a game. So there you go. If you like Serious Sam, that's coming. Apparently Serious Sam has lore. Stadia and PC. Apparently those games have lore, and I've never cared. Yeah, I don't care about Serious Sam.
I mean, that's also not the main focus of them. So.
Sure. Yeah, for sure. They showed a game called Elijah or something like that, which is a very, very basic pixelated looking game where you have a spear that you throw and can like summon back to you. It looks like a
The axe from God of War.
kinda, yeah.
Does it have a satisfying thunk?
Probably. I don't know. It looks like Prince of Persia, like the old Prince of Persia. It's very old looking, like very pixely.
Sure.
Maybe to the point where I don't like how it looks. It looks like it might play good, but I really don't like the style of it at all.
Did you download their like fake E3 game thing?
No, so that was the last thing. They have Devolverland Expo, which is a first-person market simulator, and that didn't sound appealing to me at all. So I didn't bother.
I just kind of like looked some stuff online. I didn't play it myself, but yeah, it's like a fake E3 floor that is empty and just kind of weird. And you can walk through it and then play a bunch of demos of these games, on the quote unquote show floor.
Sure. Yeah, I didn't care about that at all. But that is a thing I think you can still download for free if you want to check that out. That's kind of it, though. I mean, the thing with Devolver is they kind of were doing like a little mini movie that was split up between multiple years.
Always do.
So
yeah,
that was the thing to watch, and they wrapped it up, I guess, this year. There was credits, I will say.
Oh, right on. Okay.
Yeah.
Good for them, man. Like,
yeah.
They're not the biggest name, but they go for it, and I appreciate that.
They definitely go for it. Yep. And then the next day, Ubisoft had a thing, which was the most pointless thing I've ever seen in my life. So what they showed there...
I've heard so many bad things about this, so what happened?
So the first 15 minutes was just Watch Dogs Legion.
I think we should also, right before we get into the games, though,
okay.
They had announced, I think on Friday, that they were not going to address any of the like allegations and employee stepping down stuff with the culture going on there.
Sure.
They said, hey, this thing was all pre-recorded, so we're not going to be talking about all the stuff going on, which if you don't know, there's been a ton of like crazy allegations and at Ubisoft and a lot of like high level people stepping down or being asked to leave the company because of like weird abuse cases and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So Ubisoft kind of got out in front and said, hey, we're not going to discuss that. This is a pre-recorded thing.
Yeah.
Which I think kind of sucks. Like, how hard would it have been to add a 15-second title card to these videos?
Well, there was a half an hour pre-show that they could have done it in.
Or you mentioned it there. Well, I think those were also pre-recorded.
They were pre-recorded.
But it's still like, I'm not trying to swim chops. I edit video for a living. It's not that hard to put in that title card for 15 seconds.
Sure. Yeah.
Especially since like they would have known about this stuff well beforehand. Like, it just seemed weird not to.
Yeah, no, Tenmar's right. You don't spoil games of marketing with a PR nightmare. That's why they didn't. They should have, but that's why they didn't.
I think they still, yeah. I'm sure that's what they didn't want to do is like start it off, but they should have. Like, I'm seeing tons of other companies have been doing that. When, like, you think of even like Apple with WWDC, they stepped out and they addressed like the Black Lives Matter movement and stuff like that before all of their big announcements of iOS 14. Like, it just seems like that is what you should do.
Yeah. Well, especially since they didn't even announce anything worth talking about, really. So Watch Dogs Legion took up the first 15 minutes of this thing. By 5 minutes in, I think literally everybody was like, okay, next. Yeah, we get it. We get it. Game's coming out. You showed this shit last year that you're showing, so okay.
I think I came down a little more positive on this. I feel like we have to look at these like not so much a replacement for the big spectacle that would have been the E3, the Ubisoft E3 press conference. That's what, we all go into it thinking that, but they said near the end they're going to be doing another one of these going forward,
right.
Another forward.
Right.
At that point, it's like, oh, these are now just going to be recurring Nintendo Directs, and at that point, I think that's why there's not going to be as many announcements and it's more gameplay, because it's just a different thing at this point.
Yeah. So
but I don't think they conveyed that very well at the beginning, which is the real problem.
Right. Yeah, that's the thing is we didn't know that this is going to be an ongoing thing. So going into it, it like I said, it felt like should be the replacement when that's not what it actually was. It is their version of a Nintendo Direct, and they're going to be doing these ongoing. So I bet they're going to be less announcement heavy and more, hey, let's get some deep dives on the gameplay and stuff. Which I just also wanted to say, I think Watch Dogs Legion looks super fun. I'm looking forward to playing that.
It looks fine. Yep. I didn't need to see 15 minutes of it. That's where I stand on it. Although I will say that intro trailer, the like Welcome to the Resistance trailer, was very cool looking. I like that art style of like the cab driver that picks
goofy.
that picks up the dude, and then it's like, all right, well, you're now fucked because you're now aided a terrorist. Yeah.
I'm just so curious how the like everyone is a playable character. I just want to like figure out what does that actual mean? Like every NPC can be recruited, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
I also think it looks really nice.
Yeah, it looks okay. I think it'll be fun. They showed Brawlhalla is coming to Android and iPhones. That was that announcement. August 6th, apparently. And apparently crossplay as well with those. So, yeah, there you go. Hyperscape has a story, apparently, because why not? So Hyperscape is now officially out in open beta for people to download and play. It was actually out, I think, the day of the forward. And they showed that there's a battle pass coming. There's this weird story trailer of like, the world sucks, so we go live in the hyperscape, but terrorists have taken it. There's dumb shit going on. If you care about that, go check it out.
Very Ready Player One.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Assassin's Creed Valhalla showed gameplay. That was a thing. Confirmed November 17th is when it's going to come out, and that game looks like it is all about the Vikings attacking the Brits. That is the whole thing, with a little bit of mythology sprinkled in. So, if you want your mythology-based Viking game, you still have to go to God of War. This looks much more just about martial combat and all that sort of thing.
Plenty of like weird Norse mythology stuff in there. There's no like going off of what they did with Odyssey and Origins and all like the weird god stuff that you battled and did there. They're definitely gonna do Norse stuff for sure
at some point. Yeah,
it looks like it plays just like those other two. So
it does.
I will definitely play that. Like that is my mac and cheese game that I can just chill out. Don't even need to worry. It's like my comfort food game at this point.
Sure.
So like I am there for sure.
Yep. If you're into the Assassin's Creed games and you haven't seen it, you can go check out that gameplay and just take a look. Again, those environments are fucking phenomenal looking. Whoever is doing their environmental design needs like a huge raise or something, because Jesus, that stuff looks
probably
beautiful.
800 different people, so they can't give them too much of a raise because it's like half of the game developers on the planet work at the Assassin's Creed series at this point.
They showed the reveal trailer for Far Cry 6, where Giancarlo Esposito hands his little boy a live grenade and tells him about, you have to grip the people tightly, otherwise they'll explode. And it shows a civil war going on in like Mexico or Colombia or whatever.
This Far Cry 6 had been leaked earlier in the week, like
a day or two before, yeah.
Which I think that's also kind of led to not a ton of excitement around this press conference. Is at that point there were no new announcements, and the big like one last thing had leaked. So that's a bummer for them.
Yeah.
And are you excited for a Far Cry 6?
I mean, I'm gonna play it, but I wouldn't say I'm excited. Like, it'll be there when I get to it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll play fine.
They also showed that Rainbow Six game, the mobile one, with like all the characters from everything.
Yeah.
Sam Fisher's there.
Yeah, so I've been playing that in alpha, and it's just called like Project Clancy or something stupid. I think the actual name is like, oh my god, what the hell?
I think it does have a name, yeah.
It does have a name, yeah. I can't remember. That game's fine. It's not worth talking about, really. But it's okay. It's like a weird basic tactics game where you play the Ubisoft character roster, like Sam Fisher or Rainbow Six Siege guy, or other guy with gun, or Wildlands bad guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like Sam Fisher's like the only actual name there. And then if you're into Siege, you're probably excited because those guys do have names.
They do.
I'm
just saying from like a normie perspective, it's just like, who gives a shit about any of these people?
If you're not a Siege player, it's like, I don't know, gun guy, bigger gun guy, armored gun guy. Hey, there's Sam Fisher. They should make a new game of that with him. Fourth gun guy.
Yep. I guess like on smaller stuff, I think it was in the pre-show, Trials Rising is getting the Giga track, which is just this huge track that people can like play for free.
Sounds super interesting, like a marathon Trials track. Apparently it's the biggest track they've ever made. Apparently I guess they've done a Giga track before. It was in one of the previous games, but this is like a bigger version of it.
Oh, okay. That's actually today. Like the idea. That's out right now. So if you have Trials Rising, you can play that.
I kind of like the idea of like, you're going to sit down. This is going to take you 90 minutes. You can't fuck up for 90 minutes.
Yeah.
No.
So
it's like the endless set list in like Rock Band. Like I like they're just a weird challenge to do. Like, why not?
Sure.
So I think that's such a cool idea.
So free update as of today. As of yesterday, there was a title update for Ghost Recon Breakpoint where they added AI companions, so you are no longer playing that game solo, which is going to make that game way easier to do everything in.
You think they're going to turn around Breakpoint like they did Siege and stuff in Wildlands?
They've already kind of tried with their update to like make it a little more arcadey, but no.
No, you don't think they're going to succeed?
I don't think so. They'll probably just focus on the next one at this point. Wildlands was good though. Wildlands was never bad. It was just silly shooting. Silly shooting game. There was a crew.
I was surprised we didn't hear anything about Quarantine.
Maybe in the next one.
Yeah, I'm sure it's just like there's no gameplay or something. I was surprised no Quarantine. I was surprised no Gods and Monsters.
Yep. That's the bummer, is that they didn't show anything I personally give a shit about. That's why I'm bummed. So, yeah. The Crew 2's getting the DeLorean and some other cars. Yay. And I think there was a Just Dance thing, but I missed that. I was late to the party.
I don't think there was, actually.
It was in the pre-show.
There was not like a dance number.
No.
I think they just like mentioned
like they're releasing new stuff. But again, it's just like, these are the tracks. I didn't pay attention to it. So, yeah, kind of a bummer for me. Personally, if you like Far Cry, I bet it was great.
No, because you already watched that trailer 2 days beforehand.
Yeah,
so.
Possibly. Okay, in other news, Google signed deals with Supermassive Games and Harmonix to develop exclusive games for Stadia.
Right, actually, yeah, Stadia had a live stream as well, another Stadia Connect. I did not watch this, but
the
only thing I know about it was they announced a new Bomberman game.
Oh,
right. Yes.
Yeah. Super Bomberman R Online, which is a 64-player online Bomberman game. It is timed exclusive to Stadia, but it is coming to other platforms.
Okay. Then
are
you
gonna wait, or are you gonna jump in for like
I'm gonna wait.
Yep.
I tweeted out like size and starts looking for like Stadia subscriptions, and then someone pointed out like it's timed exclusive. I'm like, all right, never mind. False alarm. I can wait.
Yep.
Okay.
Anyway, I don't even know how well Stadia even works up here. So,
well, then 2 birds with 1 stone. You can try it out. I would assume it works totally fine. I don't see why it would not work well up in Calgary. Anyway, yeah, Supermassive, Harmonix. I'm curious to see what they'll do. Supermassive, the teams behind what's that horror game?
Until Dawn.
Anthology horror game. Until Dawn. And yeah. What's the Dark Pictures anthology?
Dark Pictures. Man of Madonna and whatever the new one is.
Obviously, the Rock Band developers. I'm curious to see what they'll do for sure. And good for those teams. Like, I'm always worried that Harmonix is not making enough money at this point.
I'm always worried that no one's buying their products because they keep doing weird things like drop mix. Even though I love drop mix. Like, what is that other game they're working on that's coming out soon? Their DJing game?
Well, they keep announcing, like they keep putting out games, like they have like multiple VR, like there's that VR music shooter one. Like they keep putting out music related games. I just hear no one ever talking about them, so I'm always worried that none of these are successes and that they're not gonna make it. So I'm glad they were able to get a deal. Yes, they do have that. The DJ one, isn't it like called Fuser or something like that?
Something like that.
Yeah. But yeah, so there you go. These next ones I put in here. Rogue Legacy, the early access has been delayed just under a month. It was supposed to be coming out July 23rd. It has got pushed to August 18th.
I love their comment on this. Did you guys read it? It's really good. Here, let me quickly read it for you. Game development is a lot like football. It's weird, unpredictable, and we don't know the rules. And just like football, when you get the ball, sometimes you got to run with it. Blah, blah, blah. They talk about game development stuff, and they said, in our opinion, the game's good. These few extra weeks will help us turn this football into a home run. I thought that was good.
Nice. Yeah, I'll wait. I'll wait until the game's good. Like, no big deal. I got plenty to play.
Yep.
This came out today. Microsoft announced or confirmed basically that they are stopping production on a number of Xbox One units. Specifically, they have stopped production on the Xbox One X and the Xbox One S All Digital Edition. Meaning the only one they're going to continue manufacturing is the Xbox One S. I'm super shocked it's not the X that they're sticking with, and instead they're keeping the S.
I'm surprised they're getting rid of the digital, considering.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the S is kind of like the middle ground between the two. Maybe the S is just, outside of the all digital. It's probably like maybe here's my guess. It's probably their best selling, and it's the cheapest
easily
one to make. So as they put all their like heavy hitters into the Series X, then maybe they feel like the X is a little redundant. Maybe they feel no one would buy a One X, and they would just rather go for the Series X. If it's only a little bit more, maybe they can super cut down the S. Still kind of surprising. Was not expected to hear that so soon. I would have expected them to keep pumping these out for a couple of years. Continuing with Xbox.
Really weird.
Xbox was interviewed today, and there was kind of two big tidbits that were pulled out from the interview. The first one, I'll just read the quotes off. It's our intent for all Xbox One games that do not require Kinect to play on Xbox Series X at launch of the console. Which that sounds good to me. So they're trying to get every single one of them day one backwards compatible. I bet they'll do it. Like they don't seem to be saying stuff like hoping or we're trying or we're testing. Sony has like we're testing titles every day. We're up to like 1,000 or whatever it was. So good for them. And the Kinect is fully gone. And then the next one is they announced that Xbox Game Studios titles released in the next couple of years will be playable on Xbox One and Xbox Series X. So they're not. The quote is specifically, "We won't force you to upgrade to the Series X at launch to play Xbox exclusives." So they mentioned Halo Infinite. I think that's the only one they can mention as it's the only announced Xbox Game Studios title under their belt. But I guess things like whatever comes from Double Fine is going to run on both. Whatever comes from I am blanking on all the other studios they purchased. Ninja Theory will run on both. So yes, sounds like they are going to continue supporting the Xbox One for a few years, at least internally.
Surprising though, like
it makes sense. You got the install base. Like last generation, we had these like games on both consoles. Like remember, Destiny 1 came out on the 360 and PS3.
I guess that's true.
It's pretty similar, and I'm sure tons of third parties will be doing this as well. Like I would not be surprised. They said like going back to Far Cry 6, the release date is February of next year. I wouldn't be surprised if there's not a last gen version of that as well. And last bit of Xbox news is they announced this morning that Project xCloud is going to be getting bundled into Xbox Game Pass Ultimate this September when it goes public at no extra cost. Which that's pretty exciting. Ultimate is the version where you get the PC and the console all in one. Don't think it has Xbox Live Gold.
It doesn't.
It doesn't. There's like another one that has both though, isn't there?
Maybe. I don't keep up
think.
with Xbox stuff, honestly. Maybe.
There's another one that has like all of them together. There's too many tiers, man.
There
Anyways,
is.
Game Pass Ultimate subscribers get Project X Cloud for free. That's pretty cool. That's awesome. I'm not leaving my house anytime soon, especially not in September, so I'm not going to be able to use it. But when the world rights itself again, I'm looking forward to playing that outside my house. All right, continuing on. Did you guys see this Lego Ness?
I did.
Yes.
So Lego, did they fully announce it? Yeah, there's even a video out. They announced a Lego Nintendo Entertainment System. It even involves a CRT, an old school CRT as well. You make the NES, you make the game cartridge. The cartridge goes in the slot. Did you guys see the video? I didn't link the video in our doc, but did you see the video of this?
I've seen the video, yeah.
Oh.
Like it's a little like diorama that you can make. You rotate it like a little thing, and it plays the actual like game for a little bit there on the screen.
Yeah,
It's real neat looking.
So Paul, you hadn't seen it. You said
No.
no. So the background, like where you're seeing Mario there's actually like a crank, and it rotates around on like a spool. So the background moves as Mario, jumps through it.
Sure.
Pretty interesting. So like I said, yeah, you make the game cartridge. The cartridge fits into the NES box itself. This thing looks super cool. It's way expensive.
Yeah.
It's not, and it also seems pretty big. It looks like I think it's like 1-to-1 scale or just about. So I mean, I'm not gonna get this. I don't have room for a fake NES at my place, but this is a cool Lego setup for sure.
Yep.
Neat. And last bit is that the Uncharted movie has officially begun filming.
Nice.
Someone sent this into our Discord. I think they even said, or it's actually the headline of this article: 7 directors later, the Uncharted movie has finally begun filming. So that's going to be a reality at some point.
Nice.
All right, that'll do it for news. So let's move on to some questions. If you would like to send in a question, it's topdownperspective@gmail.com, at TDP Podcast on Twitter, the Discord channel, or John's P.O. Box. And I can read this first one from Kevin that says, what makes a show question good or bad, and under what circumstances will you not answer a question?
It just usually like it's very rarely we even say we're not going to answer a question. Usually, if it's either a repeat question that we answered recently, or if it's like something we think is way too personal.
Yeah,
that's pretty much it.
Yeah, there's no real hard rules, but like when we go through and we select them, yeah, I think the big one is like, do I remember actually answering this one? Like, is it that recent? Because we've definitely done repeats for sure, but it's been like a few months since someone asked us, what's our favorite game that everyone hates? Right? We've probably answered that one like 10 times on this show. So yeah, if I can like remember answering it, it'd be like, ah, it's too soon. We'll get rid of that one. Yeah, too personal. I'll sometimes take them out if I'm like, I can't see any of us having an answer to this, and it won't even lead to something funny. It'll just be us sitting there going, like that's just if it's going to lead to dead air, I'll snip those out.
Yeah. Agreed. Suku says you've suddenly become a quirky Japanese video game director. Now you have to make some video games. What themes would you incorporate in your games, and what would your Twitter gimmick be?
Oh God.
All right, so themes to incorporate.
Did you guys see the video Swery put out on the day of Deadly Premonition's release? Yeah. Deadly Premonition 2's release at the bowling alley?
Yeah.
If you have not seen this, you got to look it up. He's at a bowling alley and he has got his little monkey stuffed animal there, and they are polishing a bowling ball for 3 minutes.
Yep.
So yes, you definitely got to go watch this video. It's great. It's very sweary. Anyways, yeah, back to the question.
I really like how Blood Dragon did it. Some other things do it too. Like the retro Puppet Combo is a horror indie studio as well. They do this stuff a lot, like retro, like VHS tape aesthetic, like 80s and early 90s sort of thing. I like that sort of aesthetic. So something with those themes of
with scan lines on the screen and stuff,
like,
and
yeah,
film
some shitty wobbly sound every now and then, maybe some like blown out colors that are too bright.
Sure. Actually, going with that, why have no other games like stolen the Kane and Lynch 2's like grimy, like VHS looking filters? Remember how good those ones were?
Because after playing that game for 3 hours, you would start to feel nauseous. That game was hard to look at.
Maybe other people did. I just thought that was a cool thing that no one's done something.
It was cool.
Good.
It was so cool that when I was done playing that game, I almost threw up.
Wow.
Yeah, it was the screen shake more than the actual filters.
Yeah, because when you got like a shotgun blast,
it was
like,
bad.
It like broke.
Yeah.
In like
Yeah. In other themes, sadness is always the best theme to incorporate in a game. For sure.
Oh man.
I would just put, it would just be pure chaos, pure nonsense. And my Twitter gimmick would be to be absolutely as straight-laced as possible. Like no sarcasm, no joking, just like the most like 9-to-5 businessman straightforward conversation talk. I think that's just a perfect mix.
Yep. Sure.
Okay. I always like fourth wall breaking if it's in like a subtle way. Like I don't need someone like looking at the camera and winking. But you know, or references to other games. I think of like the Remedy games. I love when they reference like the other games in their game. Kind of playing off the Remedy stuff as well. They always make like a weird TV show inside their games, and I love that. So I think I would do something where there's like a weird subplot that you can kind of follow along with it through the collectibles or whatnot. I think that would be cool. I can't think of a Twitter gimmick off the top of my head though. For sure, nothing's coming to mind.
Sure.
All right. Linebeck writes in and says, at what point does the usage of acronyms become too much of a bad idea, or too much, or a bad idea in general? When you can make entire sentences with acronyms.
That's too much.
When you can no longer understand what somebody's saying, the message gets lost.
I almost think if you have like two back-to-back,
two back-to-back's hard.
Super just weird. Like someone just saying that to you, it almost sounds like they're talking like all military to you, and they're saying like Bravo Alpha over, and like it sounds like something.
That's not an acronym though.
It's not an acronym, but I just mean like verbally it sounds like you're using just code names over and over again. Like can you think of a good sentence that has two acronyms back to back? Oh my God, JK.
Oh yeah, Valley Girl talk. Yeah, that would do it.
See, I can't.
But yeah, you're right. Like military talk and like saying things like FUBAR and stuff like that just started coming to mind too with
FUBAR,
acronyms.
Yeah.
All right, Disney or Yogurt Sapien writes in and says, "How do we handle spoilers when it comes to remakes? Like, for example, with Final Fantasy VII, do we talk about that moment since it came out 23 years ago, or do we still avoid it since a new generation is experiencing this story for the first time?"
I've come around on this, and I'm now on the side of like, yeah, let's be nice to the people that are now experiencing it for the first time. But like, I've always joked about like that specific scene in 7 for the longest time. But it also isn't in remake, so it's a really tough decision because like, okay, I can't discuss it if I'm not going to discuss it, like, but it's not in the game, so why do I care?
All right. Well, I think this one is a good example. With remake, it's going to be right, or some version of it, depending on how weird they go, right? But theoretically, it is going to show up. So I feel like it would be rude to spoil it. If Final Fantasy VII Remake didn't exist, I think you can talk about this one.
Oh yeah, easily.
I think you can. How long do you wait?
That's the tough part, because like I'm one of those kind of guys that will get to a game very late. But I would say at like 10 years for sure. Like if you're at 10 years like that. Yeah, I know. I was gonna say 5, but I'm just like 5 in a normal conversation, 10 for someone like me who just gets to games very late.
I guess I don't feel the need to talk about spoilers with somebody. Like, I don't feel the need to just be like, hey, random chat person, do you want to know the ending of a thing? Like, I'll ask, have you played this thing? No. Okay. And then I'll just keep my opinion to myself. So this is never a problem.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it can be pretty easy to avoid them, but I'm just trying to think. Like, yeah, five. Like, so like, would you talk about the end of like Spider-Man?
Who, you?
To someone, like, is that long ago? That's 2 years.
I wouldn't want to know personally, but
if somebody
that's just me.
If John asked me, I would tell him, assuming that he wanted to know. Otherwise, that's ridiculous. But if he's not going to,
but I feel like if someone's asking you, then like they wanted to know, then it doesn't fucking matter at that point.
Right. I'm not just gonna say, hey John, this is the ending.
After you beat the game.
Yeah, like that's why I don't understand. It's weird because it's like with Last of Us, like I don't need to talk about that ending, but you and I talked about that ending on a venue specifically for that, and that's fine. I'm not gonna just like randomly talk about spoilers, because why? Like, who cares?
Well, I guess well, I mean, if you need like a hypothetical of why you would talk about the spoiler, is let's say another game a year from now did something very similar to the ending of The Last of Us 2.
Okay.
In what capacity could you say, oh, that's just like The Last of Us 2 because
I wouldn't.
X, Y.
I tried not to compare games to other games because that's a poor comparison point unless that person's played the other game.
I mean, it was just a hypothetical. You can put whatever example you want in, but like, when would you openly talk about it without thinking twice is kind of the question.
I don't openly talk about stuff unless I'm asked, because I don't.
Yeah, I feel like that's a per person kind of question, anyways.
Yeah,
like no one's gonna give you the answer you want.
Yeah, I personally would try and dance around it as much as I can. And usually I'll check with the person, like, hey, can I just, like, do you want to know what, like, can I go, how in depth do you want me to go about this kind of?
Yeah, as a person, you shouldn't blurt out spoilers, period, unless the person says they're cool with it.
Yeah, I think that's the way you handle it, is you just always go overly cautious. And
because like, Sean, if you ask me a thing, my first question is, how far are you in it? And then once I know, I'm not going to like tell you anything past that point, because I'm not. And even on stupid.
Here, like when we're talking about stuff that could be like a spoiler, we'll usually even, you know, if we'll check like how far are you. But if there's even a part up to that point where I think like, you know, I would personally not like to know about this.
Sure.
I still wouldn't say it. You know, you gotta kind of gauge. This would have been important to me to go in blind.
Yeah. Like, I'm trying to think of, like, so going back to the question, how do we handle spoilers when it comes to remakes? Like, I don't know why, when it comes to a remake, we even have to talk about the spoiler part from the original. We could just be like, it does this, this, and this properly. Like, what Tourette syndrome type of thing is it where it's like, oh, and by the way, I wonder how they're going to do this part that happened. Like, who cares?
Well, like, I think that those could be valid conversations,
yeah, I don't agree.
Remake, I genuinely am curious how they're going to do that moment now that they've established such a weird ground, like, base level. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't care at all. Like, because for me, it's more about how the game plays. I guess if like you don't want to know how a game plays, that's when it's like hard for me to talk to you about a game. Because
but I mean, like if you're at a point where you're like discussing the plot, then like if you're having a natural discussion about the plot, then fucking go to town. But like if not, who cares?
Yeah, I don't bring it. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at, for sure.
And the remake side of it, what kind of turns this whole thing on a head is, even if we establish like this, you know, 5 or 10 years or whatever the limit, quote unquote, is for each person, blah blah blah. By having a remake, it almost like it resets it. but
Yeah.
or does it reset it? Like that's kind of the main question. Is like, yo, we've been talking about this forever, but in the last 9 months, everyone just got real quiet again. Does that make sense? Like, I feel like anyone listening.
Yeah, that's kind of what happened with 7. You're kind of
Yeah,
right.
kind of.
That's the thing is right now I don't want to say that moment, but like, you know, if this was 3 years ago, or if they didn't announce Final Fantasy VII remake, I would have said what that moment is because everyone knows that. Like, it's just kind of one of those things, you know, when it comes to games.
I guess, but I wouldn't have found a reason to say that moment anyway. Like, I guess that's where I'm falling on is like, I don't need to just blurt out a thing that happened in a game, plot point wise, unless we've already been like, it's weird. This gets weird when you're like, if somebody asks, what's the most like sad part of a video game or whatever, that's when it's like, oh fuck. How do we talk about this without spoilers?
Yeah, well, that's. I mean, yeah, there could be a number of different hypotheticals, but just like but it boils down to like what has to kind of happen or how far removed it has to be for you to openly just say, I'm okay saying this. Like right now, I'm okay saying that Darth Vader is Luke's father. And
you son of a bitch.
Yeah, but like, what compels you to?
I've never seen a Star Wars.
There's no point in this conversation where I would have cared to mention that. That's where I'm getting at.
It's just a hypothetical. What the hypothetical? If you need me to come up with a hypothetical, maybe the hypothetical is someone wrote in and asked me what's my favorite moment in Star Wars. Oh, it's the part where Darth Vader says, "I'm your father." Or should I have handled that with, "Oh, I can't really tell you it because it's a big spoiler." I personally think we are far enough removed from Star Wars, or that is just like cultural. You know, everyone just kind of knows that.
Sure.
But if they like remade Star Wars, like if they're just like, hey, we're gonna remake the trilogy, and maybe there's gonna be some twists, I probably would not say that openly anymore. You know what I mean? As crazy as that sounds.
Sure.
No, I agree with you on that.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a weird thing to think about. That if that somehow is like, oh, you can't talk about that anymore. Like, it's
that's just how discourse goes, man.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's also what makes that whole thing interesting. It's definitely what makes Final Fantasy VII super interesting is how we can and can't talk about some of those stuff.
Yeah. Luckily, it's different enough that like, it's different enough. So weirdly,
are you talking for 7 remake?
7 remake specifically, it's different enough that you can still have a weird open dialogue about it.
Right, like we actually could get spoiled on something. Like we definitely do not know everything that's going to happen. It is not just a full-on like remake of that game. Yeah.
Right, and I'm sure when part 2 comes out and gets leaked, we will be spoiled on it because that's how that goes. Yep.
Paul's frozen on my end.
Well, Discord just shit itself. There we go.
Yeah, you got the second lineback question.
Yep. Linebacker writes in and says, what 3DS Shin Megami Tensei games would you recommend for someone that hasn't played one in years? This sounds like a John question.
Have any of us played any of the Shin Megami Tensei games on the 3DS?
Not on the 3DS. I was thinking, like, I played one on the DS, but not the 3DS.
I heard 4 Apocalypse is pretty good.
I heard those like last ones that were coming out were good. Which ones were those?
Persona Q?
I think I heard good things about those.
Yeah, but those are Etrian Odyssey, so if you don't like Etrian Odyssey, don't get those. But if you do, get them.
I don't know.
So they're like first person dungeon crawlers where you build a party and stuff like that.
Okay.
I always wanted to try the Devil Survivor games. Are those good?
That's the one
yes.
First one on DS.
They are good. Okay.
And both of those got ported to the 3DS. So
okay.
Or sorry, the first one got ported, and the second one is on the 3DS. So
cool.
I played that on a road trip. I don't remember where. Somewhere in Canada. I was young.
Nice.
I'm going to just say the answer is all.
Sure.
All right, John. Now it's you.
Okay. Rinku588 writes in and says, is there any long-running series, game, show, book, etc., that you'd like to get into, but you find intimidating to approach due to a large amount of content, such as a huge number of episodes? And if you've done so, how did you? One Piece. I will never get into One Piece.
Yep, that's the answer for me too.
Funny you mentioned One Piece because when the pandemic started, I was like, oh, they're like 30 some odd issues from issue 1000. I should catch up. And I was around like 800. No, I was around like 800.
Okay, if you were already at 800, then fair.
So like, but still, it's been like 3 or 4 months of me reading like 2 issues every single day. Like, there's so much One Piece. It's hard because One Piece is so good, but I feel so bad saying, oh yeah, you should start One Piece. Like, that's just me at this point. There's so much to go through. But the highs are so high. Yakuza, I would love to be caught up on Yakuza.
Yeah, those games do take a bit to get through since they're so long. I'll agree with you on that. Not as long, but Mass Effect I would like to get into, but I feel more intimidated by that in general.
I think Mass Effect's a pretty easy one to get to do. Only 3 games. Only
by comparison, yeah, but
and also there's rumors of a remaster of the trilogy like every week, it seems like, so maybe holding off is like the what you should do.
Yeah, true. For me, I wanted to watch the final 2 episodes of Game of Thrones, so I watched a like truncated version of Game of Thrones because I don't like that show, to watch the final 2 episodes, and it was a waste of time.
I was gonna say that must have been a treat considering how awful everyone feels about that.
Yeah.
You're answering like the second half of how you did it, basically.
Yeah. I don't have anything right now that I like really want to get into that's long running. Like One Piece is the answer, but unless I can download it into my brain, it's never going to happen.
Yeah. I would love to, like right now, I would love to have played Watch Dogs 1 and 2. I would love to have those both done. So I'm like ready for 3. That's another one. Anyways, how did I do? I'm trying to think of a scenario I did this. I guess I kind of did this with the Ace Attorney games. Where I was like 5 behind and I was like, I'm going to start this series. How did I do it? They came out on mobile and I had a lot of train time and I just played them a whole bunch. I just found a spare chunk of time that they could fit in, and that's how that worked for me.
Oh, I actually do have an answer. I forgot. I want to play the Danganronpa games, but there's no chance I'm going to. Because they're too long.
Why not?
Oh, that's also fair, yeah.
They're way too long.
I'm like this close. In fact, the mobile versions are 30% off right now. So like I'm like this close to just finally doing it, but currently I have so many games I'm playing.
I mean, Ghost of Tsushima comes out in a few hours. Like,
so does Paper Mario.
Yeah, exactly.
I've also just, with the quarantine, not having like a commute, I play so less mobile games these days.
Sure.
So I can hold off and probably get it cheaper in the future.
Sure.
But that's another series I definitely want to do. You should play the other VLR games.
Yeah, I heard 3's not good. I do want to play 2. I want to play VLR.
I think they are all good. They just are not as good as 1. It's very similar to Mass Effect. Well, actually,
no, 2 is better. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's not a good example. I don't know. All right, next question. Suku, what is your sticker star? A game that you could write an essay on how much you hate it.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a running gag with Emil.
Oh, okay.
He literally wrote an essay about how much he hates Sticker Star.
Okay. I think it's still a fair question. I wrote a review for was it Project Shield? Is that what the name of the game was?
Yeah.
That 3DS tactics game that sucked.
You're thinking Codename Steam?
Codename Steam. That's what I'm thinking of. Sorry, Codename Steam. I wrote a review. That's basically an essay.
Yeah, and then like half your complaints got addressed by a patch like 2 weeks later or something like that.
Great. I'm happy for that. Now people can enjoy it more because it sucked.
I wrote a review for a game called like Quantum Theory. That was a bad Gears of War ripoff. I fucking hated that game.
That game is okay.
No, it's not.
The story in that game is ridiculous, and I love it.
It's a bad game. It plays like shit.
I think you go to that game for the weird ass anime story.
The story wasn't.
Isn't also one of the main characters named like Big Bo?
No, you're thinking Binary Domain, and that game is great.
Oh, I am thinking of Binary Domain. I remember the one you're talking about. I have played Quantum Theory. That game does suck.
It's
yes,
a bad Gears of War.
Yes, Quantum Theory does.
And mine has been changed.
No, Paul's right.
Binary Domain's so good.
That is really good. Yeah, more people have to play Binary Domain.
I want to write an essay about how good that game is.
I remember when I was in, this would have been freshman year of college. I was in like intro to new media, and one of the final assignments was you had to write an essay on something relating to new media. I just handed in one of my game reviews.
Nice.
I think I had some Gears of War game had recently come out. I want to say like maybe it was 2 or 3. I can't remember. It was definitely a Gears of War one. I just handed that in. I spruced it up just a little bit and just handed that in.
What grade you get?
I could not tell you. That was so long ago. I'm
Okay.
sure it was like a fine grade. Like I think it wasn't anything amazing. It wasn't anything bad because I can't remember it. All right, do you have a game, John?
The only one I can think of is the one I always say. Aiden Chronicles the First Mage for the N64. It's the only game I ever rented and returned the same day.
Okay.
Because I'm usually pretty generous with liking or not liking a game, so
Yeah.
I have played many a shit game and enjoyed many a shit game.
You
Fair.
could probably do an essay on Superman, right?
Oh, easily.
Just because you know so
I mean,
much.
he kind of did, right? Like his video game.
That's like a mini doc, basically, at that point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Also, Umbrella Corps was one of the worst games I ever played. That game is so bad. I don't know that I hate
Umbrella
it.
Corps.
Yeah, I think most people have. I can't believe they tried to make Resident Evil an esport. What are you thinking? So dumb.
I mean, why not at this point? You got to get that money.
I guess so. VGC Candy writes in and says, if Sakurai came to you to offer your likeness as costumes for the Mii fighters, also known as TD Mii's. TD Mii's?
Oh my god.
That's
No.
Which host gets which style?
Dib sword.
Dibs Gunner.
What's the other one?
Brawler.
Yeah,
Brawler.
that sounds right.
Okay. I assumed people were going to want the sword. So that's why I had to jump in.
I've definitely been in more fist fights than I have sword fights, so I'm okay with that.
I definitely own way too many Nerf guns. So. But I also own a sword, so really interchangeable.
And I was about to say, I'm not a weirdo who owns a sword.
Yeah.
But I have, I still do want that one.
All right. And last but not least from Hebrew Lantern. Oh, never mind. Not last. Since the Pope exists in the Cars universe, Car Jesus must have existed.
Okay.
What kind of car do you think he would have been? What other car versions of famous people can you think of? Also, what car would you be? And do you have a car-themed name for yourself or the other hosts, i.e. Bob Costas and Daryl Waltrip were named Bob Cutlass and Daryl Cartrip?
The Jesus would be a Volkswagen.
I don't know why I thought Volkswagen too, but you're...
You're talking like a Volkswagen Beetle?
No.
Yeah. No,
Not
no.
me. No.
What are you thinking?
Hold on, let me find a picture, because I don't know car names very good.
Yeah, I'm not a super car guy. So like, with the removal of the tires, like putting a car on blocks, is that kind of like crucifying the car?
I hate that I'm actually thinking about this. I hate that I'm actually thinking about this.
This is Pixar's Cars' fault.
Fair. I was gonna say, since Jesus had such humble like upbringing and beginnings, he would just be like a rusted up Ford.
Yeah, I guess like it's the only one I can find, just like the Volkswagen van, the one that's just like old
Like
and
the Shaggin' Wagon?
yeah.
Oh man, actually, not a bad answer. Yeah.
The Shaggin' Wagon. That's a
I didn't
pretty
know
good
if
one.
it had a name or not, but like that's
I
just
think
what
that's
comes
the
up.
official scientific name.
I think it's just auto boost or something like that. It's got some bus related name, I think. But
Mm,
yeah, most people know it as the Shaggin' Wagon.
okay.
Can I just say like the Mystery Machine if we're going in like a van route?
Sure.
I'm gonna take that for myself. I want to be the Mystery Machine.
Mystery Machine.
And I'm obviously Sean Bukar.
Oh, that's really
Shit.
good. Fuck.
Ah, shit. It's right in his
No,
name.
you're just
Fuck.
Sean Wheeler.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit, you're right. I don't even have to change my name.
No, what?
Or you could be like John Wheels. which just
Yeah.
kind of sucks.
That's not as good. Weirdly to me, anyway.
Yeah. John Wheeler just makes so much more sense, honestly. Just literally my name.
I think for Paul.
Yeah. Ugh.
Other famous people. Okay, what other car versions of famous people can you think of? George Carstanza.
Okay. That's pretty good.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh my god, the Chrysler! That's what Jesus is! Fuck!
Oh man, very good. That's a super Stoge in the chat.
Yeah,
Gotta
that's a
give
chat.
props
Yep.
to the Chrysler. That is very good.
God damn it. Chrysler.
I mean,
It
I
was
can't
right in the
think of
name the
Paul.
whole time.
It's gonna have to be something that's like not with the word car, not with the word wheels.
No, I'd be like a Polvo. Like a Volvo.
Polvo. Okay, that's not bad. Yeah,
That's kind of
Polvo.
like all I can think of.
That's definitely better than anything than I could think of anything.
I have no idea what my name or what type of car I would be. I feel like since glitching is one of my main like things attributed to my streaming, I would be like a car that constantly breaks down then at that point.
See, I thought you were gonna go with like the DeLorean.
I mean, also okay with that. I would probably pick like Kit from Knight Rider at that point.
Can I pick one of those what was that like that cartoon that had the teens turning into cars?
Oh god, I know what you're talking about, but I can't remember the name of it.
What was the name of that? And it's super weird, and you should look these transformations up on YouTube because they look horrible. Because their like faces get all wide before they turn into like the front of a car. What is the name of that show? Is it like Turbo Teen?
Something like that.
What it was? Turbo Teen. That's what people are saying in the chat. Yep. I want to be